Welcome to Modern Lifekeeping, where we discuss ways to thrive in today's world. I'm your host, Lori Christine. Today we have a special guest, Midge Murphy. She's a professional liability risk management consultant, author, and speaker. She's also the first attorney to receive a PhD in energy medicine. Hi, Midge.
Hi, Lori. Thanks for having me today.
Oh, thanks for coming on. I understand that you have this wonderful book that's here to educate the community, and I want to hear all about it.
Well, that's great. What I want to let people know is that have a PhD in energy medicine, and I also am an energy healing practitioner myself. So I kind of walk the worlds between the legal and regulatory issues that we all face if we're offering healthcare services to the public, as well as the fact that I understand the world of energy healing and those nuances of working with someone's energy system. So what I found, I started doing this work, it's like 17, 18 years ago, when I taught an ethics course for the Intuition Medicine Academy in Sausalito, California, after I received my PhD in energy medicine. Because to be honest, I didn't really know what I was going to do with it. But this path of service has shown up. And what I realized all those years ago was that there are a lot of energy healing practitioners out there that have had absolutely no training or level of understanding in what it is to have a legally sound and ethical practice. The thought process at that time was, well, of course I'm ethical. I want to help heal people. Well, and that's fine. And I honor that. But there's a lot more to it than just having that intention. And unfortunately, there are a lot of times where ethical violations occur. There are a lot of legal issues that are very present when you're offering your healthcare services to the public, whether you're licensed or non-licensed, if you're using an energy healing method in your practice. And each group has different concerns from a legal standpoint. So what I did was I wrote my book, Practice Energy Healing in Integrity, The Joy of Offering Your Gifts Legally and Ethically. It's not a long book, but it's a great resource book for practitioners. And a lot of training organizations require their students who are going through a certification program to become certified in a type of energy healing modality to read the book. And I also have an exam based on the book. And those two components really are a critical and essential part of moving the entire field of energy healing more into the mainstream healthcare. So I urge practitioners to read the book, but then to take the exam. And then they earn a professional credential. They earn a certificate of completion. And that's something that shows that they have a level of understanding and competency in some of the basic legal and ethical issues we face as energy healing practitioners. That's kind of a long-winded answer, but I wanted to give a little history behind why the book was why I wrote the book.
Yeah, well, that's exciting. I personally have had several bad readings, bad energy work done, and it does make a difference. It matters, and that's what I think too, is that the people were more self-taught.
Yes. Yeah.
And yes, they did have good intentions, but if my mental health wasn't stable, or if other variables were going on, they could have really done some serious damage. And
Absolutely.
also, and you talked about modalities, but there's also title use. There's illegal use of titles constantly. People can't just say
Yes.
they're a spiritual counselor, because you have to have a certain licensure or certification to be able to use that title. And a lot of spiritual practices are being done under these titles, and people don't know any better. So I'd love to hear
Yeah.
maybe what some people can do so that they can avoid ethical issues, whether as the person receiving the services or the person giving the services.
Yeah, I think let's start with the consumer, someone who's interested in engaging the services of an energy healing practitioner. And some of the things I think you want to be aware of or ask about is, are you certified in the modalities that you offer? And ask them, what's the theoretical basis of, let's say, Reiki that you're doing. I'm a therapeutic touch practitioner, and I've been initiated as a Reiki master, and I do a lot of shamanic processes with my work after working in the shamanic world for over 24 years. So I think it's important to get a sense of the background and the training of the practitioner so that you feel comfortable. Especially they should be able to very briefly, in a few sentences, give you the theoretical basis of, well, what is Reiki all about? Well, it's about balancing the energy system. And when we balance the energy system, then we know the body is in a place of relaxation and being centered. And the body wants to heal itself. So it actually creates the atmosphere for the mind body to heal naturally when you can balance the energies, unblock energies, move energy to make sure that everything is exactly where it needs to be. So you're working with the energy field. You're not working with the physical body because you can't. You're not licensed to do so. So I think, ask those kinds of questions and ask them if they've had any training in ethics. And it's really important. I mean, all licensed healthcare professionals are trained in ethics and legal issues in order to become licensed. And so just ask around, make sure you feel comfortable that they've had enough training and that they have a sense of professionalism and they are not talking about themselves, but really trying to impart important information to you as a potential client that you feel comfortable engaging their services. Now, from a practitioner standpoint, Laura, I love the fact that you recognize that there are certain titles that you absolutely cannot use. And there are states, it's called the title restrictions. So it's actually illegal. It's a crime to use a title that's, quote, protected. And so counselor is a great one because that's really kind of a little bit of nebulous in that in the state of New Jersey, only licensed mental health care professionals can use the title of counselor. So you say, well, that's okay. I live in Nevada. Well, guess what? If you are offering your services across state lines, you are subject to the laws and regulations of every single state in the United States. And of course, as energy healing practitioners, most of us do work via distance with our clients. So the other words you really want to be aware of, and I address this very much in the book, there's a whole area about websites and marketing and what kind of titles you should use and suggested titles that are safe versus the ones that are going to get you in trouble. Don't ever call yourself a therapist if you're not licensed, because the perception is if you call yourself some kind of a therapist, even an energy therapist, the perception is you are offering some kind of licensed healthcare services. So you want to avoid that at all costs. And then on the other spectrum, oh my gosh, there was someone in a state, I'm not going to name the state, who was not a psychologist, but she had some training in energy psychology methods. And I think some of you may be aware of EFT tapping, emotional freedom techniques, TFT, thought field therapy. There are a number of different modalities that are kind of under the umbrella of this new emerging field called energy psychology. Well, she's not a licensed psychologist, and she was calling herself an energy psychology practitioner. And that's in violation of all 50 psychology practice acts. Only licensed psychologists may use the term or the title of psychology, either in their title or how they describe their services. So it just behooves people to be aware of the laws and regulations that apply to you when you're offering your healthcare energy healing services to the public, because we fit under this big, huge umbrella of complementary and alternative medicine. And so that's considered a consensus term. I like Michael Cohen's definition. He wrote this wonderful book called Future Medicine. I think he's definitely the leading academic in this field. And he defines complementary and alternative medicine, or CAM, as a consensus term, meaning anything outside of bio-Western medicine. And that's a huge number of modalities.
Yes, it is.
Indigenous healing and nutrition and chiropractic medicine and acupuncture. So a subset of that big CAM umbrella is energy healing methods. And so within CAM, there are some CAM practitioners that are licensed in all 50 states, and that's chiropractors. Chiropractors are licensed in all 50 states, and they fought hard to get that. And then it turns out that acupuncturists now are licensed in all states except for 3. And then there's this whole other group of energy healing practitioners that's completely unregulated, except there are some states that require energy healing practitioners who use touch to be licensed massage therapists. And the states are now starting to make rumblings, and actually legislation is being proposed in several states to license energy healing practitioners. So I think there's this, and there's a lot of misinformation out there. So I'm here to be in service to say, okay, let's really understand what's going on. What is the future of how we move forward and be in service to our clients? And that includes being really legally sound and having an ethical practice.
Sure. And it's exciting to have these modalities open to us and available to us, but as a consumer, we have a responsibility as well to do our due diligence. And people are spiritual counselors. I'm like, no, you're not. And they're using these titles illegally, and no one's really checking for this. And that makes me wonder what it would take to have your program, your exam, and your book be something that is required.
Well, I think it would be great. And that's my goal. That's my mission. That's my path of service, because this is going to enhance the credibility of the entire field. And it's also going to make you a better practitioner, because ultimately, the more knowledgeable you are, the more professional, the more you can hold integrity, be a clear channel of the energy and modalities that you're offering, then you're going to be a better practitioner and you're going to be in better service to your clients. So it's really about serving the people that want to come and work with us. And so I think it's important to also remember that states are looking. Number of clients that I have, and I know of many, that they'll get a cease and desist letter from a board that says you are practicing illegally, you need to stop. And sometimes they're not really out to get you per se. They just want you to be in compliance with the law. That's why I always recommend an audit of your website, because there's certain words and terms that you may be using that put a red flag over your head. It's important for you to realize that you can clean up your your practice and make it legally sound if you follow some risk management tools and strategies, and all of those are listed in the book. So
yeah, and gain clarity, and the more you do that, the more clear you can. You're not a counselor. So when you say you are, there's no clarity. That lacks clarity, and it lacks transparency too, because
yes.
because you're presenting as something that you're just not. And I use counselor as an example, but it absolutely happens. I would even argue practitioner. They're using practitioner for tarot card readers, and I'm just like, are they really practitioners? That implies treatment to me. Therapy implies treatment, and that's not no energy medicine is treatment from what I can tell, right?
Right.
So
Yeah.
I agree. I think language is very powerful, and we mislead and manipulate. And when we're doing that, we undermine the benefit of the energy work.
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely. You got it. Absolutely, Lori. And I think with respect to the title issue and calling yourself a counselor, is that it is misleading. And so the legal issue that's involved with that particular notion, not even besides that you could be charged with practicing medicine or psychotherapy without a license, you're in violation of some licensing statute. You could be sued by a client for misrepresentation. Now, that's a legal grounds for people to sue you. Negligence,
Not a legal
misrepresentation,
title.
violation.
You're
Yeah,
using a
yeah,
title illegally. It's absolutely not appropriate, and
yeah,
people don't know they're doing it. And ignorance is not a defense.
exactly.
But
Yeah,
and so that's why I think the practitioners have a responsibility. But no one's making them. I mean, all these life coaches. Who regulates life coaches? Nobody.
nobody. Yeah,
Anybody can say they're a life coach and just put a sign up. They can get a certification in the mail. We can all get these things.
yeah,
But if they're not valuable, who cares?
right.
And how do we
Well,
make them valuable?
yeah, well, I think that's a great point, because I think the move towards moving forward is to have really high quality professional certification programs. And so the other thing you should ask if you're interested in a certification program, you might want to do some looking, little Google search. And if the certification program is a weekend workshop, well, I would go, no way. You can't be trained in an energy healing method over a weekend, or you can just like sign up for something and you read a manual and you get a certification over the internet. No, 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 no. So, but there are very legitimate, highly professional certification programs where you actually get the training that you need. And sometimes you can do it over the internet. Sometimes get into groups, get your basic training, learn the modality. Then you have a period of time where you're mentored and you practice with clients. I have practiced clients, and then you are observed and mentored by either the program director or a mentee or mentor of some in the program that actually watches you do a practice session with an actual client to make sure that you not only know how to use the modality in a therapeutic setting, but you have the professionalism to know how to manage the therapeutic relationship, because there's all kinds of things that you need to be aware of to have a client-centered practice. And I won't go into all the details, but it's really important. And so then you need to take the ethics and legal issues. And I have worked with a number of larger training programs where they actually require the students to read the book and take the exam as part of the core curriculum to become certified. And then those organizations, I have a revenue sharing program, and they get an affiliate commission for every exam that one of their students purchases. So it's a win-win for everyone. So I think if you're looking to become an energy healing practitioner, if you're interested in this work, do your due diligence and make sure that you are going through a legitimate certification program. Those are sort of the basic elements. The other element that I'd like to mention is the fact that you need to be a client as well. If you're interested in an energy healing method, most of the high quality certification programs require you to be a client of that modality. You have an experience of what it's like to be on the other side of the table, so to speak, if you're the client instead of the practitioner. So I think as a consumer, you want to make sure that they come from a qualified certification program. And if you're an energy healing practitioner that really wants to do this, the profession, then it behooves you to really make sure that you choose a high quality professional certification program in the modality that you're interested in offering to the public.
I agree. I think though, with all that being said, it can be difficult to discern what makes it a high quality. I know, you talked about the mentoring and the practice and all that. And I've been involved in online programs that give me a certificate and have that, so to speak. I know when there's other licensures, like for, radiation technician or something, they have an accrediting agency, right? The law exam has an accrediting agency. How can we move towards getting an accrediting agency that oversees this work?
We're working on that. I love that you are very intuitive, aren't you, Lori? Yeah, we are working on that. Yeah, there is a group of us that are working on that because we see this as a critical component. So the states can look to a national accreditation certification organization that says, okay, this person has met this criteria from this national standard. Now, this is similar to the National Certification Center of Acupuncture and Oriental Medicine. And that organization does testing. They have an ethics component and some other tests that they do. And most states, not all states, but almost every single state that license acupuncturists require those who are seeking licensure in that state to become an acupuncturist must have taken these tests and passed them by the National Certification Center of Acupuncture and Oriental Medicine. So that's the model that we're working on.
Good.
And so we're moving towards putting something together, and it's in the kind of the formative stages. But we also, that's major stakeholders, we see there's a need out there for something like this. And then that would be a great gift to the practitioners, because once they have that national certification, then they're good to go. They don't have to worry about, am I going to get in trouble? As long as they're complying with the laws and regulations in the state in which they're practicing, then that's a way to move things forward and to get the credentialing that we need to make sure that, when someone goes through a certification program, that school has been vetted and we know that they turn out good practitioners or qualified practitioners.
It's a major step in
Yeah,
building the infrastructure for energy healers. Yeah, I agree.
definitely.
Well, good.
Yeah.
Well, that's been super helpful. And where can people get a copy of your book?
Oh, great. So the print book is available on Amazon, and you go to Amazon and purchase it there. The Kindle version is also available on Amazon. And on my website, you can purchase, I have the PDF version. Some people like that on my website. And also the exam based on the book is only available on my website. And it's very simple. It's just midgemurphy.com.
Okay, good. Well, thanks for coming in and sharing this information with us today. We appreciate it.
Well, thank you for this opportunity. It's a great meeting you and sharing some information. And again, thanks for the opportunity to be here.
I can't wait to see how it turns out. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Lori.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of Modern Lifekeeping, brought to you by Kira Kisses. Hope you guys have a great week. Talk to you next week. Until then, keep wondering.